D&D 4 Annual Duck Shock Rock 2 Hellraiser Stream Along Spookathon.
Okay.
Scrotally. Hellraiser 2. Who am I?
Yeah.
The doctor is in. Would you like a prescription? So many good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So many good one-liners by the doc.
Yeah. I'm fighting grogginess today because more than halfway through the film I realized that I had not taken my medication that I was supposed to take like 2.5 hours earlier for it to not make me groggy the next day. I feel a little bit of it. It usually doesn't hit me until, well, it's usually just like I have a hard time getting started,
Yeah.
and that didn't really feel like so much of it.
Issue.
Yeah, and then I came home from walking, and I was like, oh my god.
Dude, that'll happen to me some days. Just from walking. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like,
Makes me feel real fit.
I was like, eating will help, and then it made everything worse. But anyway,
Salmonella. I mean, tryptophan.
Salmonella. Wow.
So much I didn't remember about it.
Wow.
I was correct in my prediction that I had I appreciated it a lot more just viewing.
Yeah. I had seen you start it, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
Before, and I'd seen the Pinhead opener.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the scene of...
Yeah, but all I'd seen was him sitting on the floor, and that was pretty much it.
Great shot. I love that.
Yeah.
Long shot when he's in a concrete hangar or something.
Yeah.
Bunker.
I guess it was supposed to be like that's not how the movie was supposed. I mean, like, you know, they all the Cenobites had backstory. Like Clive Barker gave them all backstories, so they all had that, but they didn't, you know, have time or whatever to put all of that in there. But I guess the originally it was supposed to be Julia.
Played by Claire Higgins.
That comes back and is like the big bad. But people were so excited for Pinhead that they kind of...
What's wild to me is the number of things I read that made it seem like... Because, I mean, I guess that's enough time, but Hellraiser came out in 87 and this came out in 88. So
yeah.
It's surprising to me the amount of things that they say they changed given audience reactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was already greenlit during post-production of the first Hellraiser. Yeah, I guess they were going to do a whole bunch of...
Yeah.
I think they even shot some of it, like backstory about Pinhead. I wish I remember his name, his human name.
Colonel Oliver or something.
Colonel Brigadier. Yeah, whatever. Fudging Thuck. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. In Hellraiser had a tiny budget and was pretty successful, so they got a bigger budget to make the sequel.
Yeah.
initially. Then it got slashed because
Right.
the studio was having issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of things were planned for.
Right. And then
Another thing was that Andrew Robinson refused to come back.
So they had to, and it was
And
going
his
to
character
be,
was going to be a lot
yeah.
more.
Right.
But one of the writers was like, thank God he declined because it made it a lot easier to write. It made the narrative cleaner or something, which,
okay.
wow, because,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what I remembered about watching it the previous time was just feeling like, I don't understand the connections being made here. I don't understand what all this is supposed to mean. Now it's, a second viewing, it's less that way.
Yeah. I guess Kirsty supposedly says Jesus wept to Frank.
In this one?
Mm-hmm. Or something. She says it, but I'm like, when did that happen?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it's like, he says it, Frank says it, when he's being torn apart.
That's not Frank.
Yeah.
No, that's Andrew Robinson.
Yes, but it's Frank wearing.
Oh, okay.
It's
I see.
Frank the character.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then it's so funny because they're like, this actor played, portrayed Frank in the skin suit or whatever.
Frank the Monster.
Yeah.
Because of his slight frame.
Because he's so, and I'm like, it's so funny because when he's that character or when he's like, I'm like, this doesn't look like the same person. It looks so vastly different. I'm like, the face shape is off, like so many things. I'm like, it doesn't. So that's very funny to me that they're like, oh, we did this so because he was so. I'm like, his face looks so much bigger as the monster than it does as Frank.
Well, yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's so. I'm like, why bother? Like,
I know, yeah. Well, because otherwise he'd look fat.
It's just wild.
All over the rest of his body.
It's like, okay.
I was thinking about that actually, especially because of the heads. Because you got to put a skull over. You got to put a fake skull over a human skull, so it looks like a helmet.
It's crazy. Like,
I thought it was, all things considered.
Yeah, I was looking at
impressive. A lot of it.
I feel like they did a lot more close ups and like sort of more intricate, maybe not design, but like more intricately shot. Went with Julius. Oh right, Julia Gulia.
That's right.
Because that's in The Wedding Singer. Drew Barrymore's character's name is Julia. Oh. And she's engaged to a guy whose last name is Gulia. And like, yeah. And Adam Sandler's like, you're going to be Julia Gulia. And then it's like, she's like, wearing her wedding dress in the front of the mirror and like looking and being like, hello, I'm Julia Gulia. And she just starts crying. So anytime somebody
Julie had a similar scene in this movie.
Exactly. And
she screams and punches the mirror.
She says, Julia Gulia. So I could just yeah, when Julia comes out,
the amount of times Julia says, well, when she's getting resanguinated. Well. Well, what?
I thought it was so funny. First of all, the amount of outfit changes that happen, like, it's so nonsensical how they do all that.
And then how many people end up wearing that same dress?
Fucking like when she comes out of the bed, like that whole scene is pretty great. But then she's like, help me, and he just like kicks the bed and it barely moves, and then she just like climbs on top of it and then she's fine, which I'm like, okay. And then
that's where the blood is.
Yeah, and then she's like, I'm cold. And then she goes, yeah, then she's just in the living room spreading blood everywhere. And then she's like, I'm cold. And then she gives her a white pantsuit to wear of his own, I'm assuming.
Right. Amazing.
So she puts on a white pantsuit covered in blood. So it's just a mess. And then
Comes out looking like
And
Fever
then,
Ray.
and then she drinks some wine, and then he wraps her in bandages and puts her in a dress. And all this happens.
And then they're married.
All this happens one right. It's not a thing where it's like time goes on. It doesn't. It's a sequence. It doesn't. It's like, also, why not just have her in the fucking body bag? You just wrap her up. Don't wrap her up and then put a dress over the bandage. Just have her wearing just the bandages.
Or skip the step of her putting on the suit. If he had a dress handy and all them bandages, did she have to put the suit on to go to the store to buy bandages and a dress?
But also, like, was the suit supposed to be under the bandages? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand.
No,
Oh, man, that part was the only part that I was like, please, can we move past this? I really don't care. And it was like, it kept trying to be like, oh, look, they match each other's freak, which is fine, but nothing sensual was happening. It seemed very much like she's like, every time you're like, she said well a lot. And honestly, it felt like she was like, well, like, you gotta fuck me or what? And
yes, it did feel that way.
Right. Here's a glass of wine. Well,
yeah,
and
I
then
think
he's
this
like,
is the part I
I'll
missed.
light a cigarette. And
right.
Well, and he's like,
exactly.
I'll just wrap you up in some bandages. We can just.
We'll call that good enough. You were like, leave a hole.
I was like,
yes, I think that was a part that was not. I still think it's not made clear enough in the way it thinks it is. I don't know. But this is definitely something I did not understand on my first watch through is Dr. Chenard's connection to it. Any of it other than he's Christie's doctor. And okay, turns out he's into the occult is how it's written about. Like,
the way that I
wish they had just made it that, like, he heard about the lament configuration, got obsessed with that and trying to find it, or that's most of his obsession, and then he's got some other periphery. Instead, they tried to make it.
Oh,
well, I don't know the way I was reading about it, and I feel like they were trying to, like, oh, he's got a chalkboard with Norse rune and astrology markings, and
I
he's
assume
got a fetus in a jar. What? He's got a whole human in a case, whatever that is. I don't know.
So I would assume, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but my assumption was kind of that he is more obsessed with, like, he's found out about the lament configuration and the puzzle boxes through his likely already existent obsession with the occult, and then has found different, so he likely started, but I'm still going somewhere with it.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's likely been mentioned, because it doesn't Frank buy it in, like, Morocco or something in the first one? Like, he's somewhere that's not.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Yeah. So I'm assuming some of that
You're
is
not thinking
like,
of the reboot where it's in Belgrade or something?
No, I'm not thinking of that. No. He he sorry. Okay, so I'm sure it has existed for a long time.
Right.
So there's probably mentions of it in different cultures and different things. So he's probably found it mentioned through, because a lot of this stuff that he has is solely about the lament configuration. Like he has 3 different puzzle boxes. He has a whole folder full. He knows about Pinhead, like all this shit. So I'm
He knows about
assuming,
Lieutenant Colonel.
yeah. So I'm assuming it means that through his obsession with the occult, he's found this stuff and then has like collected things from all over that are that relate to it somehow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that.
Yeah, this might be Captain Spencer.
Captain Spencer.
Yeah, this is maybe, as I'm realizing with Hellraiser in general, it might just be my
Yeah.
blind spots or it's not doing the way I want it to, so
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
seeing what's
Right.
there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that character doesn't get much after Julia comes back.
Yeah.
He's just, and then he gets Cinnabit.
He turns into the So I will say this.
We get the scene where he's just drilling, rotor-rooting part of a brain while the person's
And then he's
awake.
like, anyway, let's. That's all I have for today.
Others have been here before us and have left us signs, but we, as explorers of the mind, must devote our lives and energies to going further, to tread the unexplored corridors in the hope of finding ultimately the final solution. We have to see. We have to know.
Dr. Chenard, the new arrival is awake and appears very distressed.
My part in this is over. Tidy for me, will you? Kyle, come with me.
Let me make this very clear for anyone who might be overhearing me right now. I said, come to my house. The address is
So
1615 Illinois, Indiana Ave. Remember that time?
Illinois, Indiana Ave. Oh,
That was for you.
remember that time? Fuck.
Remember the time.
If again, what was I saying?
So yeah, that's
Heard. Yeah.
because I feel like we're expected. The audience needs to understand all this about Chenard for it to really make any kind of sense.
Yeah.
And there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean-
I'm owning that it could be me.
Yeah, I think somewhat I think in some ways there's not supposed to be as much of a backstory because you're not supposed to necessarily suspect that he's going to be as bad of a character as he becomes.
Oh, really?
Like you see him as a doctor, and you're like, how are we supposed to? And then he gets the bed and then he brings her back, but you're still sort of like, he still seems very passive in all of it.
Yeah.
So you're confused by it, but I don't think that they wanted you to make him out. I think that him being the big bad was supposed to be like more of a surprise. Like it was, I think
That's
they were,
fine.
I think
Yeah.
how I took it was more that they were making you expect that Julia was going to be the person, she like made him, she brought him to hell. She gave him to,
Yeah.
the other, whatever. So, when he comes out and he's like, LOL, I love this shit. Let's fucking go.
That's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the worm in Adventure Time.
No, that's Zergiot, right? Well, the worm too, but he's like, wah, wah, wah.
Oh, maybe. But I was thinking of the
when
worm.
he switches his leg with the bird leg. Wah, 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 wah. That's a good episode. I was crazy for smacking goblin hams.
That's not the one that's voiced by Michael S. Anderson.
Who's Michael S. Anderson?
The small man from another place. Is that how I know him? Because of Twin Peaks.
The guy that played Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes.
He is the voice.
Rump of smooth skin.
He he is the guy that plays I can't remember what the character's name is, but he's in the introductory episode of Zergiok.
You mean the episode where Zergiak
Yes.
is introduced?
Where Zergiok is kicked out of his kingdom, and then that guy is his like Finn takes over as king, and that guy is this like little not guard, but like
Valet.
sort of. He's just like, please, sir, let me chew up your food for you. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah, when he like tries to brush his teeth, and they're like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, and he's
Okay,
like,
yeah.
please beat me and not the others. so that episode is a lot. It's great. Anyway, yeah, I think you're supposed to not expect that he is going to be so pivotal in trying to keep them from getting out.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's the Julia of this movie, right?
Right.
So
And Julia's the Frank of.
right. And that's how it's presented to you.
Yeah.
And then it gets swapsied. Swapsies. Yeah, it sort of gets swapped out. So they're trying
Apparently,
to
it was originally written though that she was gonna.
right, she was going to be the queen of hell or whatever.
Right.
Which
But
I think
she didn't
would
want
be-
to come back for more.
Oh, she didn't?
Right. That's what I read.
Oh. I read again that it was Pinhead that they decided to
Oh, that
focus
too.
on
Yeah.
Pinhead.
Right.
But yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how also you said so I assume you were it was the story of Kyle
Yeah.
and like Claire Higgins and William Hope being very fond of each other during filming and
No, I thought it was.
pretending. Well, yeah, they went to like school together or something like that.
I thought it came from what's her name who played Kirsty,
Yeah, but I'm just
relaying that on the set they seem to hate each other.
yeah. Right, but she said when she ran into Claire,
Yeah. Years
she
later.
said it was because she was so enamored of
Right.
him that she was trying to put on a brave face and act like she didn't care.
Right.
And then, because he seemed not to care about her.
Right.
And then she told that to him.
Back in school.
Yeah. But I thought it was like she didn't remember. She was saying like she thought he didn't remember her at all
Yeah. Right.
from school, and so she didn't. And she remembered everything about him, and so she didn't want to like. She didn't want to like. I guess let her guard down or seem
Right.
like pathetic. So she was cold to him, and then he, I guess, was cold in response to her.
Told her she smelled like sweaty socks.
And so whatever, what's her name that played Kirsty, that's what Claire said to her, and so she told that to him, and he was like, oh, this is horrible because that's exactly how I felt. It wasn't an unrequited love, that's exactly how I felt about her. So it's this sad tale of
Yeah. You ever see Remains of the Day?
no. Also, this is why whenever people are
Ashley
like
Lawrence.
Ashley, never would I remember that. This is why I've never like shit like this in movies and stuff. I've never, if I like someone and I feel, I'm just like, by the way, that's how I feel. That's it. Because
Not my experience.
I
but
cannot, not your experience with me.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know you liked me. You just flashed your tits
And took you
and
home.
then asked if I wanted to kiss.
Did I? I thought I just kissed you.
I don't remember.
Maybe I asked.
I was too drunk.
Yeah. I just remember that I kissed you and you just went. Okay. And you just held that expression like I kissed you, and you held the face you made while I was kissing you. You were just like, for so long. I was like, I don't know if he liked it or not. Did you? I don't know.
Honestly, it's all right.
I do remember, though, when you said, do you want to go somewhere else? And I was like, I live a couple blocks away. And you're like, that's great. And we were leaving and I said, oh, no. And you're like, what? I was like, I like you. And you were like, is that bad? I was like, it's very bad. Yeah, actually, it's not. I was like, oh, it's so bad. Yep. Ugh. And then you hugged me.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm sorry.
Why? That it ended so poorly. Yeah. Anyway, we've broken up, if that wasn't clear.
Over mom talk.
Yeah.
What's that show actually called?
It's called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh.
But mom talk is what they refer
Right, to
to their group of TikToking moms. It's the best time of my life watching that show, and I don't know why.
Absolutely loves this show.
Literally, I'm like, should I just start it from the beginning and watch it over?
You probably should.
I'm gonna.
When I see their lives, it's not only how they interact with one another, but like what they do with their lives, and then when they show the external shots. I mean, this is no comment on the natural beauty of Utah,
Yeah.
but I'm like, this is a kind of hell. I'm not even kidding. This is like the worst of everything white people do and have done to Turtle Island.
Yeah. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. I think if some of you will forget, my people are indigenous to Western Europe, so everyone's indigenous to somewhere.
I thought that was you ripping ass. I thought that was you ripping ass at first. I literally did.
You mean tearing ass? What? Who said that? Oh, but it's on Buffy.
Yeah, it was. What did he say?
Tear-assing.
Yeah, tear-assing. Shit. I've been watching Buffy, and I've been watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and poor Keith is...
Buffy, he's okay. The hardest part about Buffy for me is A, the fashion, B, the dialogue, C, the basic premise, D, all the actors.
What's so funny, though, is like Bunny and I watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and we're like obsessed with every single person on there except Whitney. We wish Whitney would die, and we would like to push her down a flight of stairs collectively.
I need to say this where Bunny can hear it too, is that Whitey reminds me of Meghan McCain.
That's what Bunny calls Macy.
Really?
Bunny says that Macy is
Meghan
I think Meghan McCain's. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But yeah, Whitney does have a As Keith looks out the window.
She has a certain thickness about her.
Oh God! But we love the aesthetics of everything. We love how everyone looks and dresses,
Yeah.
and they're
For me,
like
that's
everything
the-
is so appealing. But like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's a very
I don't
specific
either.
thing that
That's
I
what
don't.
really scares me about it. That actually is concerning. Because for me, it's
I know.
the epitome of everything that I try not to
I
be.
don't know why. I don't know what it is. There's something about it. I watch it and I'm like, yes, I want
I
to
think
see.
this is called internalized depression.
You're probably right.
Internalized white supremacy. White hegemony.
Internalized eugenics.
Internalized.
Anyway, I do love it. Yeah, I'll probably start over from the beginning. Just so I can hate Whitney more. I hate her so much. Because when I first started, I didn't know I
the
was
show
going to
really sets you up to...
She also, okay, I'm just going to say this. You can cut it out of the episode.
Surprise. Hellraiser
No.
2.
There's an episode where, like, I told you the girl's husband, Jen's husband, like, freaks the fuck out because she's outside of
'Cause
Chippendales.
They went to Chip and
And he, like,
Chip and
threatening her
Dales.
with divorce. He's, like...
Is he the old ass guy?
No. That guy was cool. When his wife was going, she's like, I'm not... He's like... He said something about her, like...
I'm going to need a lot of quarters tonight.
Plop them right in their G-strings. No, he told her... She was like, I'm not going to go home with any guys. And he's like, I don't want to tell you what to do. He's like, you just follow your gut, man. He's like, just do what feels good. He's like, you just do whatever you want to do. He's like, don't worry about me. And I was like, this is so sweet. That's so sweet. And like, I think Macy's husband was like, she was like, do you care? She's like, was jokingly like, saying like they were going to go to a strip club and he's like, okay. And she's like, do you care? And he's like, I don't care what you do. He's like, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. He was like, whatever. And so like Jen, her husband being like, I'm going to divorce you because you're such a horrible person. And he was like being horrible.
Jen is Jen Affleck, correct?
Yes. Jen Affleck.
It doesn't just rhyme.
But when Whitney found out about it, and this dude was like going off on everyone. He was like, Demi's divorced and married to a 50-year-old, and like this person like is divorced, and this person like all this shit. He's just going off on all of Jen's friends and how they're so horrible. While he's gambling with money that Jen gave him because she is the sole breadwinner of the family. At like 22 or 23. She has like 2 kids.
That sounds like her first marriage.
2 kids, is supporting him through medical school.
Yeah, right.
Well, his parents, I think, are paying. But like, anyway, whatever. So Whitney finds out about it and she's like, you know what? I can see his point of view because she's a horrible person. I was like, you're such a bitch. You're such a bitch. She's like, you know what? I got to agree with him on this. I'm like, no, you don't have to agree with a fucking monster for calling his wife a fucking horrible person because her friends took her to trip.
The best part is that they're all presumably Mormons.
They are. But Jesse and Demi are very critical of the Mormon church. They're very critical. And they... Jesse's the one that got the labiaplasty.
I thought we made a deal that we would never say that word on this podcast.
That was unclear to me. I thought the deal was that I wouldn't get one.
Phalloplasties, but
The deal was that I wouldn't get one. Not that I wouldn't talk about it. No, but it's interesting because this is something I didn't really know. This is just about like labiaplasties.
great.
A lot of times they're done not for like it's not like, oh, I want my pussy to look pretty. It's done because of pain. Like yeah. Like that's why she got it done. She said it hurt a lot because like your labia
Prolapsed.
kind of like your labia
Blowed out from having kids.
and
Birth
but
canal.
that happens. I know women who have like longer lips and like it hurts and it'll like hurt like when I know like someone that got it done and they were saying like wearing shorts hurt. So, you know, like it really hurt. Anything that was like putting pressure on it hurt.
Like too tight.
Yeah. Not even tight. I think it was just like anything that like made you feel like, yeah, it was just like.
Wouldn't all clothes do that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So like wearing shorts
that's
or
how I
wearing,
feel
yeah.
about all clothes anyway. All clothes hurt.
So that's something that I was like, oh, okay, I get that. Like because I used to be like, fucking labiaplasties, that's horrible. But I'm like, yeah, if you're doing it because it hurts to walk, I'm by all means, yeah, get that shit fixed. I don't know, like it's
Get a
fine.
little trim.
Yeah. So
Treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and that's why she said
This
that.
is
it
akin
hurt.
to female circumcision.
Okay, anyway. Hellraiser. No, there was a lot that was like there was the ways that it was shocking were not ways that I expected it to be. Like when they showed the Chatterer when I was like,
when he
damn,
devolves.
Yeah, I was like, whoa,
Yeah, and
like they went hard on a couple
He's
things
like
that
a
I was
teenage
like, yeah.
looking.
Yeah, and even like Channard or whatever, you know, him at first they do present him as like being more about like when they show him like working on, you know, he's like, oh, like it's so important, like, you know, and he's like, you know, cutting into someone's brain or whatever, and it's this whole thing where he's like working with people who don't talk or like don't, you know, and you know, you get a little like, ooh, maybe he's not the best doctor,
Maybe
but
not the most ethical.
yeah, but then when they show like when he gets, you know, you see all the shit that he, you know, they do like flashes and you see that he was like mutilating, you know, people and shit and like doing like they just have a bunch of flashes like him as a kid, like you know, I don't know what it was like it's like very fast flashes of stuff, and the implication I got was that he was just straight up mutilating people for fun, and that's why he became
when
a
he
doctor.
gets put into the when he gets Cinnabit?
Yeah.
Cinnabit in?
Yeah. And that's why like the implication I got from it, because it showed like when he was young and it showed like him stuff he was doing.
Yes, that's right.
As a doctor was
Right.
that's why he became a doctor, was so that he would like
Have access.
Yeah, to be able to completely
Go
like
ham.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, and just the way that they went about it, where again, the implication up until that point is sort of that he's the passive character. He's so overwhelmed and he's like, oh my God, this is all so much. I wasn't expecting this. So you think that he's going to be like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I'm changing my mind. And it completely does the opposite of that. So that was an interesting.
No, yeah, I like that dynamic of it. I mean, like, yeah. Again, I can't tell if I'm just being shitty because it didn't do it in a way that.
Right. Yeah. It said that, or in the trivia, the IMDb trivia, it's always very trustworthy and never gets anything incorrect.
IMDb. A lot of those entries, by the way, I went and read the Wikipedia entry about the film, verbatim, cut and paste.
So I was saying that like it sounded almost like bagpipes.
Yes.
But it said horns, so I think that might have been. I don't know what instrument does it, but that sound happens.
Yeah, I listened to that piece of music because I read that too, and I remembered your comment. And it also, the trivia entry was that like the composer, it's the rhythm it's playing in is Morse code that spells out God.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like Tibetan Buddhists.
Right. Yeah.
Those long ass brass.
Yeah.
trumpets. It's just like.
Yeah.
I love that sound.
I was like, this is crazy. It reminds me of like how the music in The Cell, how it's got that like real like it was.
Yeah, it does the high pitch.
Yeah. That's what I was hearing, and I was like, oh, but yeah, it said like the rhythm or whatever you were saying is Morse code for God, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and all that. The first watch through, I'm like, I don't know what's supposed to be being said here. Like, Leviathan is the god of hell, but it's just this geometric shape in the sky blasting out a blasting out darkness. I don't understand.
Right. Yeah. That's why I like it, because I'm like, oh yeah, how else are you going to portray like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess
I think.
Well, apparently, as originally written as Julia's ascension to the god of hell was that her face was going to be incorporated when it's transforming, when it's reconfiguring itself at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was something I don't think I would have. I mean, I hate to say this. I've only seen, like, even though I love Hellraiser as a film, I haven't really seen, like, obviously now I've seen the sequel. I haven't really seen most of the other ones. So when I watched the remake and they have, like, the different configurations and how they have different names and different, you know, I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool. So now I want to watch the rest of them and see.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think most folks consider after 3, you shouldn't really even take it as canon.
That's fine.
But, you know, like,
I don't know if that care
means,
about that.
I don't know if Clive Barker jumped off after 3 or why.
Well, no,
that's the
sorry.
cutoff.
I know that fucking Todd Higgins or whoever played
Claire Higgins is Julia.
Tom Waits. I don't know. Whoever played Pinhead.
Frank. Oh, Bradley
Cooper.
Smith. Bradley Cooper Smith. I don't know why.
He stops being Pinhead
Oh, really?
at some point.
I didn't think he ever stopped.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
He does. And it's very straight. Like, it's so funny too, because I am one of those people that, like, him as Pinhead I do find him as Pinhead really hot.
Yeah.
And other people as Pinhead, I'm like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, right.
But, like, also.
Bloodlines, at least.
Okay.
Which is for Doug Bradley. But as himself, I'm like, ooh, oh, whoa, whoa. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I was like, ooh. He's like, it's so wild that. What? Why are you?
No, because I'm seeing that he's in Hellraiser Inferno 2000 as Pinhead. He's in Hellraiser Hellseeker 2002 as Pinhead.
Okay.
Hellraiser Deader 2005. Yeah, I guess if I remember correctly, when we watched Hellraiser, I think it was maybe when we watched the new one, when I was sort of complaining about, like, oh, I wish there was, you know, like, it seems to be like there's all this mythology, but you don't really get any of it.
Sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah.
Are there multiple?
Pinheads? Is that what you're searching?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was played by an actor and voiced by another actor in the Revelations. And then Hellraiser Judgment was played by Paul Taylor. Okay. And that's not Jamie Clayton who played. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to watch. But apparently he was in 8 films.
Bradley.
Yeah. Bradley Cooper was in 8 films. Altogether, his whole career. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, okay. So would you recommend this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, same. I think it's a pretty great sequel to the first.
Yeah, what I was starting to say was that I think it was back when we watched the newest
Yeah.
fresh boot or what have you, soft reboot. That was complaining about like, oh, the Cenobites, like it seems like there's a whole bunch of mythology, but you don't really get it.
Yeah.
And that's my feeling from watching the new one and the first one. I had seen 2 already, but
Right.
didn't remember a lot of it apparently. Because I think that's one of the things this does is gives you like...
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little... I mean, clearly they had to deal with budget constrictions,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I think that's probably why this suffers, where it's kind of hit and miss, where you get the opening scene with Captain
Lammers.
Spencer.
Yeah.
And none of the other ones, but then you do see them devolve back into their human form.
Yeah.
Which was really effective, I thought.
Yeah.
Dramatically and visually. You
Yeah.
know, like I thought that was a really interesting thing to add to the universe, or whatever.
For sure.
Mythology, lore. And the fact that the Cenobites are basically overthrown by
Yeah.
Shenard's Cenobite form,
Yeah.
but then they make it ambiguous with the fucking pain pillar coming out of the mattress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really surprised.
I forgot about the dick sucking skeletons and the penis and the baby with its mouth sewn shut. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. A baby sewing its own mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah, this shit. You said it almost got an X rating. I don't know how they got
Yeah.
any rating at all. It's really surprising how. I mean, the first one you watch it and you're like, "This is crazy for the '80s."
For sure. Then
This one, I'm like, "Holy shit!" They really did amp it up. There's so much. It's so gruesome in surprising ways.
Yeah.
I did not remember the scene of Tiffany's when she first walks into hell or whatever, and it's all Clown Town, and
Oh my god.
that's when the baby first appears. And the clown that takes his own eyes out or whatever.
Oh my god, he's juggling that. Oh my god, amazing.
Help my daughter. 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 Help my daughter.
It does a lot. It tries. It really shoots for the sky. It's actually surprising that it's not more convoluted than it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're really doing a lot. Like the introduction of Tiffany,
Yeah.
which you can argue she doesn't need to be there. I would argue she may not
Tiffany.
need to be there.
Yeah.
She said, okay, this is the trivia that I'm like, this cannot be the case. We're like, before Titanic, this movie had the record for
No, I thought it was said this and Titanic hold a record for characters saying
for 2 characters saying each other's name. The most Tiffany must say Kirsty's name twice at most.
Oh, I don't.
Because she doesn't speak until the very end.
No, I thought it was saying that a character's name is said. I didn't think it was like at each other.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong.
Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, whatever.
Whatever.
What's amazing to me, though, I think I felt this way at the time watching the new Hellraiser, and it's so fascinating that like if I didn't know, I mean, like I only know a little bit of Jamie Clayton's stuff, and I mostly know her through like just social media and stuff like that. Never in a million. I would never look at Pinhead, her portrayal of Pinhead, and then her face and be like, "Oh yeah, it looks nothing alike to me." It's
Pinhead
so
looks nothing like Captain Spencer.
no, but I can see his features.
But Kirsty
know?
could see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh God, one of the trivia. Hang on.
Yeah, she apparently missed her pocket.
That was so funny because I was like, while I was watching that, I was like, I was like, did she have two pockets? Because it looked like it totally did not go in that pocket, but it just cuts, and I was like, that doesn't look like. And that was very funny to me.
I didn't catch it, and I'm disappointed in myself.
It was just like literally, it's just like cut. It's so fucking funny to me. This film,
she's just called the priest in the new one.
This film, along with
Pinhead.
Titanic, holds the record for the most times. Oh, two characters repeat each other's names. Oh, huh. I misread. I thought it was like saying,
Right. Yeah, if it had said it the way you did, that I would believe. But
right, because Pinhead is like, Kirsty, you come back again. Hello, Kirsty. No excuses, Kirsty.
Oh, Kirsty. So eager to play. So reluctant to admit it.
it's so funny to me. I remember this cracking me up on first watch through when Kyle he overhears Dr. Chenard is going to get the mattress delivered to his home. So he's like, what the fuck? He starts getting suspicious. So he breaks into the doctor's house. Mm-hmm. He finds his cabinet of curiosities.
Yeah.
And he just, 3 times, I think he says, weird.
This is weird.
Fucking weird. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Also, I like the first time, like, Tiffany never speaks. Tiffany never says anything. And, like, you keep expecting her to say her first words. And the first word she says is, oh, shit. And it's so fucking funny. It was such a great delivery, too. So this is our final movie.
Wait, let's see.
Okay.
I want to... Apparently, Larry Cotton is the character, Andrew Robinson's character.
Yeah.
Kirsty's dad. Apparently, the original thing was that he was there in hell, and when she got to the chamber where Frank appears, they were going to be conjoined.
Yeah.
Larry and
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
And that Frank attacks Kirsty, and then Larry rips himself off of Frank, apart from Frank, and then Julia shows up, and then...
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. That would have been interesting. But also
apparently Oliver Smith, is that his name, that plays Kyle, has a rep. He feeds stray pets.
Oh, no, it's not Oliver Smith. William Hope plays Kyle.
Yeah, you're right. Oliver Smith is the guy who played Frank the Monster.
Yeah, he just feeds. That's so sweet. He's like, he just feeds stray cats.
Yeah, and apparently on sets, that was... That was one of the things that Claire Higgins said she remembered about him.
So sweet. So sweet.
Yeah, and apparently he would just take his paycheck from while he was on the movie and go straight to the Tesco and buy pet
cat
food. Yeah, this was shot at Pinewood Studios, which is wild. Or I don't know if it's wild, but I'm always like, because that's where a lot of the Hammer horror movies were shot.
This is our final film.
This is the final film.
This is the final film of Hollerween.
Just like we drew it up.
just like we threw it up. Hits and misses. Where are we at?
Well, this one definitely is the most
I agree.
horror movie that we watched.
For sure.
And gory as
yeah.
fuck. You know, this is a funny thing. I just because I was watching a video of two black women talking about horror films.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of it. I'll put a link to it because I'm sorry, I didn't know either of them before, so haven't retained their names. But they were specifically, it was going to be a conversation about religion and the deliverance. So I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to see
Yeah.
some takes on this by black folks.
Mm-hmm.
But since I watched that maybe a week ago, they were talking about, one of the topics was like getting scared watching horror movies. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really the fun part for me. I don't watch movies that scare me. I don't want to be scared. I mean, a jump scare or two I can handle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not really what I'm in it for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know that's not true for everybody, so.
Right. Yeah, no, I've never, this is always where it's kind of hard for me is because, I don't, the movies that I feel disturbed by are usually things that are more realistic or more about real things that I've experienced. So I'm like, I'm not really.
It's traumatized. It's re-traumatized.
Well, it's like a trigger. It's usually a trauma trigger of mine. But not talking about that. I've never experienced, I don't watch a movie and get scared.
Yeah, I think for me it's more
for me about I love when there's I love slasher films because who done it? It's a who done it. I love puzzles and I love slasher movies. I love it because it's like who's the killer? Who this is one of the reasons why I love Scream movies is because it's always like somebody's the killer. Who could it possibly be? I love shit like that. And it's
Hey,
fun.
you ever get into Agatha Christie?
So, but there's something campy and queer, I think, that comes along with horror movies, that makes it, and also there is actually a big crossover with horror films and sex work and sex workers, and it's something where there's a lot of both backlash and a lack of taking it seriously. Like if you're a big fan of horror, then you're childish.
Right, it's not real art.
Immature. Yes.
And which is the intellectual critique, and then you get the purity critique, the religious critique, or puritanical, whatever.
Only people who have something wrong with them enjoy media like this. Only people who are, disturbed are going to I see this shit with Terrifier. Terrifier, I mean, we're hoping to do an unmentionable. Maybe we've done that on the first and second one. We've just watched the first one as of this recording. But there was a lot about it that I was so impressed with because of the minuscule budget that they were working with on the first one. But people are like, it's so misogynistic. They're like, oh my God, they kill women in it. And I'm like,
have you met a movie?
I don't know that what? And there are movies I felt like Hereditary was more misogynistic in a lot of ways than and weirdly so, there's ways that, I'll see something portrayed in a movie that's considered less violent, or it's psychological horror, or, you have to really think about it, to get it. And I'll be like, this is really actually not good. And people will disagree because it's more of a thinker. It's a more easily digestible horror film for, the smart people. And it's that's fine. But I think when you critique violence, the portrayal of violence as only being there to satiate a sickness within people. There is a lack of understanding of both metaphor and also catharsis.
Yeah. I was
And-
going to say for me, for me, I think it's the thing of manageable risk, right? Like it's, as a very anxious person who's terrified
Yes.
every day
Yes.
of
Yeah.
the
Right.
concrete reality of
Correct. Yes.
I live in a state that is enabling a genocide,
Correct.
and
yes.
it's not the first, and it will
Right.
not be the last, and so on and so forth. And I don't know,
Yeah.
I may not be able to pay rent in 2 months. You never know.
Yeah.
It could happen
Right. Yeah.
at any moment.
Right.
It's more escapism,
Yeah.
and with horror in specific, it's the play acting of horrible things.
Yes. Allows you.
Takes
yeah.
the.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, it allows for escapism, but
Well, it allows for escapism, but it also allows
right.
for
It's not exactly
this.
escapism.
It's not escapism, but it allows for you a place to root for something. My point is that horror can be a really great escape when life feels like a horror, film.
Right.
And I'm not one that I want a reality check. Like some people are like, I want to consume as much, realism as I can. I'm like, I experience the real
well,
world.
and this is what I used to talk like in my 20s or something.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You need to be the harsh reality of
right.
the world should be shoved down your throat.
Well, I mean,
Which makes sense as a young person who
also,
hasn't experienced.
I think that makes sense a lot more when social media and cell phones weren't the way that they
that's true.
are. So you have no choice but to get harsh reality shoved down your face.
no
unless,
one's forcing you to go online, to be on Twitter.
Except for that's really how the world works. Like, you to have a job, to have anything, you need to be.
Learn the code, bro.
Anyway, whatever. So, what was the stinker of them?
God, we did Chud 2.
We did Child's Play 2, Chud 2,
Child's Play.
Night of the Demons 2.
No stinkers. Chud 2 is maybe the.
I would say it's the weakest
but-
in view of like horror in general.
Oh yeah, it's not much.
It's
It's very campy and.
Well, it's not even that it's campy. It's just like doesn't have very little gore, if any. Really, there's almost no blood in it whatsoever. Like it's very,
Yeah.
But I think Chud 2 is probably, I don't want to say my least favorite because it was probably just the weakest link of all of them. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Night of the Demons was crazy surprising.
Yeah.
I think starting with Chucky and ending with Hellraiser, I think I knew how I was going to feel about Child's Play, which is that it's a lot of fun and really ridiculous. And that's how and then I knew that I was going to have a lot of fun and be really interested in Hellraiser 2. And that's a fact. That's what happened. So I think we started strong and ended strong.
Absolutely.
Which is exciting. And I think the middle ones were exciting too because they were different than I was expecting them to be. And so that was, different from the rest of what we watched and different from how I was expecting. So they were a lot of fun. So yeah, I feel like it was a really good month altogether.
For sure.
Yeah.
And thank you for the order that we did them in.
Yeah.
Because ending on Hellraiser 2 was a good way to go out for sure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I either want to start with Hellraiser or I want to end on it. And I always like opting for ending with something that I'm pretty sure is going to be a winner. That way, even if every single movie of the month sucked, we at least have one
Yeah.
that we,
Turns out to be an effective-
even if we've never seen it, like there, you know, obviously we ended on Portrait of a Lady and we were like, oh my God, it's so bad. And I was like, we're ending on Martin Donovan. I was like, oh my God, not even that
Right.
was enough. So, you know, my apologies there. But what did we do last? Oh, Sci-Fi September. What was the last one that we watched?
Oh.
Sci-Fi September? Cherry 2000. That's what it was. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, it was a winner. It was a winning movie for me, this film. Hellraiser 2. Hellbound. Hellraiser 2. Hell.
See ya.
Happy Halloween. Because it's almost Halloween.
Great.